Hello, everybody. Can you guys hear me? Just waiting for some people to get in here. And then we're going to start because there's some information that's come out regarding the Vallow Daybell case, as well as we're going to cover the Alexis Sharkey case. Hello, Titan. And some court documents that show Alexis's husband being not only abusive, but jealous and manipulative and all kinds of stuff in prior relationships. Okay, Des is on her way in. Hello, Jenna. Hello, Mama. Hello, Courtney. Hello, Mouth of the South. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Now, I think I've got this figured out on sharing the screen, and I've got everything up and ready. So, hey, hey, hey. There's Des. Hello, Patricia. Well, I'm glad you guys could all make it. I'm hoping this isn't going to be a very long live, but there's a bunch of stuff that has happened with the Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, and with the Alexis Sharkey. Hello, Floridian. Welcome. So just give it a couple minutes, you guys, and then we're going to start. We'll start at about 10 after. Just want to give everybody a chance to get in. So as you guys seen in the posts that I made the other day about the Daybell, apparently charges are coming for both Lori and Chad in conspiracy to commit murder. So those charges are coming, you guys. Hello, Superwoman. Hello, Socially Awkward. Hello, Patricia. Yeah, there's some stuff that nobody else has, I guess, seen yet with the Daybell case. I call them dumbbell. Nice to see you too, Superwoman. So I think I have this figured out, you guys. Mama says, not feeling so well, determined to make it through Christmas with family. Aw, well, I hope you're feeling better soon, Mama. We're good. I finally got heat back. Yeah, dumbbells, truly evil, you guys. Okay, so what I'm going to do, you guys, is I'm going to, my mic will still be on because I use the mic for my camera, but I'm going to stop my cam. So it'll be my mic as I'm sharing all the information with you guys on screen. Okay, so we're going to do that now. Let me just, oops, what did I do? Okay. Okay, you guys cross your fingers that I get this right. So I'm going to stop my camera. You guys can all still hear me, right? I know you're not going to be able to see me, but you should be able to still hear me. Let me know that you can still hear me before I start sharing screen. Okay, great. Okay, so there'll be a little glitch for a second. Just let me get rid of this and bring this up. Okay, I'm just waiting for this to pull up, you guys. I'm looking on my phone to make sure it comes up. Can you guys see it? Okay, wait a minute here. Okay, can you guys see the court documents yet? Okay, wait a minute. Of course this wouldn't. Oh. Okay. Now, let me get back to this. There we go. This should work. I forgot to click a button. I'm gonna minimize that, put this up. There you go. Please don't jump on me, you guys. I will get better with time. Okay, so you can all see it and you can hear me? Okay, so why is it not going big? I just want to make sure that this is working. Yep. Okay. Okay, so you guys can see it, you can hear it. Great. I'm going to use my phone so I can see the comments. Okay, so we're going to jump into this, you guys. Now, this first thing here that I'm showing you, this is after, I think in the last live that I covered this, I told you about John Pryor and Mark Means wanting to have Rob Wood taken off. Okay, so this is what the state of Idaho filed after that. Okay, so it says the state of Idaho, by and through the Madison County Prosecutor's Office, serving as special prosecutor in Fremont County in the above captioned case, hereby moves this court for a judicial protective order prohibiting the parties, witnesses, potential witnesses, victims, victim witness coordinators, law enforcement officers, and court personnel from providing any exhibits referenced in the defendant's motion to disqualify the special prosecutor, or any exhibits any party intends to admit in a hearing on that matter to any reporters, the media, or from publishing said exhibits on social media. Making any comments regarding the above captioned case on social media, including but not limited to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc. So this is prohibiting anybody regarding this case, like the witnesses, victims, law enforcement, anybody. But I already have a copy. I'm not in that category anyway. I have nothing to do with the criminal justice system over there. So, but I had already had downloaded Rob Wood's statement and everything, so I have it already. But they can't share it anywhere. This is what Rob Wood was asking for, and the prosecutor's office. Okay, so it says also from providing any correspondence or communications between or among the parties to media or publishing said correspondence or communications on social media. This motion is based on the following. This is a high-profile case that has received a large amount of media coverage. The defense has filed a motion to change venue, and any comments by any of the parties to this case only serve to heighten media attention and or participating in any of the acts listed above creates more media attention and will create difficulty in picking a jury on this matter. The state requests an expedited hearing on this matter and requests that the court enter a temporary order granting the relief sought above until such time as a hearing may be held. Okay, so as soon as Mark Means and John Pryor filed to have Rob Wood taken off the case, Rob Wood filed this, and he wanted a hearing on this as soon as possible. Okay. So what happened next is Rob filed this motion to have a closed hearing. Okay. Oops, let me just get back up to the top. Okay, so this is what was filed. Okay, so this is the order. He asked for an order prohibiting anybody from sharing anything. Okay, so this is the order regarding what I just read you, what Rob Woods was asking for. This is the judge's now order on that. Okay, on December 16th, the state filed a motion for judicial protective order and requested an expedited hearing. Okay. Having considered the motion, the court determines that an expedited hearing will necessarily relate to matters subject to the court's order to seal as of today's date. The state has requested that the hearing be a closed proceeding, which means we can't see it. After due consideration of the factors set forth in ICAR 32 and in the consideration that a likelihood exists that the state may be prejudiced by discussion or dissemination of information already sealed, the court determines that the hearing will be closed. The closure of the hearing for this limited purpose is no broader than necessary to protect the state's interests in preventing disclosure of potentially prejudicial information, and the scope of the hearing shall be limited to the state's request for a protective order. Okay? Finally, the court determines that there are no other reasonable alternatives to closing the proceeding. The court therefore finds good cause for the expedited hearing request to be granted. So he got the expedited hearing. Now that expedited hearing has taken place, and I'm going to give you what happened in that hearing. Okay, so the hearing was granted, and the state's motion for a judicial protective order shall be heard on Friday, December 18th. So that was held on December 18th by a remote hearing, and it is further ordered that the hearing is going to be closed. So that's why I didn't get a notification that this hearing was happening on the Zoom, because it was closed, okay? So they had the hearing, okay? So this hearing went through, and this is the state against Chad and Lori. Okay, so this is the order after that hearing took place. So orders regarding December 18th, 2020 hearings. On December 18th, 2020, the court had a closed expedited hearing on the state's motion for a judicial protective order filed on December 16th, which is up here, which I just read you, the first thing I read you. Upon review of the motion and arguments of counsel, and in consideration of the record herein, and for the reasons stated at the hearing, the court denies the state's motion for a judicial protective order. Okay? So their motion for a protective order, judicial protective order, was denied. The court further heard at a closed expedited hearing, defendant Lori Noreen Vallow's motion for a judicial protective order, which motion was filed on December 18th. Upon review of the motion and arguments of counsel, and in consideration of the record herein, and for the reasons stated at the hearing, the court denies Lori Vallow's motion for a judicial protective order. In addition, the court heard argument on the defendant's joint motions to extend time on motion to dismiss. Okay, so we knew that there was a hearing coming up in January to have their charges dismissed. Okay, so now the court is saying that they heard the arguments regarding that hearing that was supposed to take place on January 6th. Based upon the stipulation of all parties at the hearing, the motions to extend time are granted. By further stipulation of the parties, the court will vacate the hearing on defendant's joint motions for the change of venue, currently scheduled for January 6th. The defendant's joint motions to disqualify prosecuting attorney will now be held on January 6th. So the motion to change venue and the motions that they filed to dismiss all their charges that was scheduled for January 6th has now been vacated. They're going to have more time now to file those motions again and for the court to hear those motions after they have a hearing on this January 6th hearing is now going to be covering the motion that John Pryor and Mark Means filed to disqualify the prosecuting attorney, John Wood. Okay? So counsel for Daybell has requested that the January 6, 2021 hearing on the motions to disqualify the prosecutor be an in-person hearing. Okay? So John Pryor wants this on Zoom so everybody can see it. And the prosecuting office wants it all hidden. Okay? But the judge said, upon consideration of the most current Idaho Supreme Court order, emergency reduction in court services and limitation of access to court facilities, this court, in its discretion, does not find grounds requiring that the aforementioned hearing be held in person, and thus the hearing will be conducted remotely via Zoom. The court's December 17th order to seal remains in effect and will govern further filings related to the joint motions to disqualify the prosecutor. In addition, at the December 18th hearing, the state and defendant Daybell requested the January 6th hearing be closed. Defendant Vallow objects to the closure of the hearing. So, which means the state and John Pryor have requested that this hearing regarding disqualifying Robert Woods, they want that hearing closed so the public can't see it. Whereas Lori's lawyer, Mark Means, does not want the hearing closed. So the court has taken that issue under advisement, and the parties may submit written supplemental argument and or authority on the issue of closing the hearing. Any supplemental argument must be submitted to the court no later than 5 p.m. December 30th. Okay, so Lori's lawyer only has until the 30th of December to submit another motion to have another hearing to try and have this closure for this January 6th hearing shown to the public, which I believe it should be. Okay, I believe that the public should be able to see what is going on with the prosecution office and Robert Wood and what is going on there. Okay, so that's where that stands. So there's going to be more motions before this January 6th hearing to see if they're going to disqualify the prosecuting attorney, Robert Wood. That's going to be held on January 6th, and it's yet to be determined. Right now it's under seal and it remains closed to the public, and that's what the state and John Pryor want, but Lori Vallow's lawyer wants it open to the public. So we will see what happens there. Okay, so next, after this, okay, looks like Mark Means got a little bit upset. Okay, so now Mark Means is taking this to court. This is another notice to the prosecutor's office and the state of Idaho. Specific request of discovery pursuant to Idaho Criminal Rule 16. Please take notice that the undersigned, pursuant to Rule 16 of the Idaho Criminal Rules, request discovery and inspection of the following information, evidence, and materials. A list of all persons, witnesses, potential witnesses, persons of knowledge, or the like that you, Special Prosecuting Attorney, Mr. Robert Wood, have spoken, conversed with regarding this case. Anybody that he has spoken to, okay? Please include, but not limited to, the person or person's full name, date and time of your conversations, specific statements of said conversations, location of said conversations, substance of conversations, method of conversations, like example, telephone, text, email, FaceTime, face-to-face, etc. Duration of said conversations, and in person in attendance and or involved in said conversations. So like he's going balls to the walls here. Like he's going hard after Robert Wood. Please produce all records of said communications, tangible or intangible, included but not limited to recordings, text messages, emails, phone records, voicemails, pictures, videos, or the like. Also include any and all identifying information for any persons present and or included in said conversations or in proximity of said conversations. So that means if he was in a conversation with somebody regarding this case and somebody walked by, didn't become party to that conversation, but just walked by and could possibly overhear it, he wants names of all them people too. Please identify the attending persons in full name, address, employment, position, telephone number, and other identifiable information. Okay. So the request specifically includes the following, but is not limited to these people: Lori, Vallow, Daybell, Chad, Daybell, Alex Cox, Zuelma Pastinas, all Daybell children, Tammy Daybell, Adam Cox and children of Adam Cox, Colby Ryan, Kelsey Ryan, parents of Chad Daybell, parents of Tammy Daybell, parents of Lori Vallow Daybell, Melanie Gibb, Summer Shiflett, and any of her family members, David Warwick, Larry Woodcock, Ethel Cade Vallow Woodcock, Kay Woodcock, April Raymond, Annie Cushing, Melanie Bordeaux Pawlowski, Ian Pawlowski, Brandon Bordeaux, Heather Daybell, sister-in-law to Chad Daybell, Matthew Daybell, brother of Chad Daybell, persons associated with the group entitled Preparing a People. Like what? The whole church? Persons associating with the AVA website. Are you kidding? And any and all persons subject to descriptive above. Okay, so that's what Mark Means now wants. Like, he's going hard. He is going hard. Oh, that's yet to come, Mama Shanana. Just see, Means hasn't even handled any type of case like this. Yes, and I believe, you guys, that Mark Means, with filing stuff like this, is getting... somebody's in his ear, and I think that person in his ear is John Pryor. Okay, my opinion only. I believe that it's John Pryor that's in his ear saying, do this, do this, do this, do this. So Mark Means looks like the dumbbell. You know what I mean? Because this is unheard of. For Mark Means and John Pryor, because John Pryor followed suit with filing this motion to have Robert Wood taken off the case. That's why you've seen the difference in their motions, where John Pryor said, I forget how he put it now, like, Mark Means was straightforward, right out accusations. Whereas John Pryor was saying, apparently, Mark Means came full force saying, he did this, he should be facing criminal charges, blah, blah, blah. So for lawyers to attack other lawyers like that, especially in criminal motions the way he did, he could very well be disbarred. Okay, there's some big stuff that's going on behind the scenes here, you guys. And this is why I think John Pryor is in Mark Means's ear, telling him to, you should file this, you should file this, you should do this, you should do that. Without John Pryor totally jumping on board, the way John Pryor did his motion to disqualify Rob Wood, it's like, I'm going off the information that Mark Means got. Basically is what he's saying when he was saying alleged. Okay? You see what I mean? When John Pryor filed his motion to disqualify Robert Wood, he said alleged. Whereas when Mark Means filed his motions to disqualify Rob Wood, he accused. Straight out, I've got proof. You did this, blah, blah, blah. Not alleged. You did it. You should be charged. You messed up. You led the witnesses. You did this. You threatened them. You did this. You did that. And on top of that, you attacked me personally. He straight out accusations. This is where Mark Means and his little knowledge about criminal proceedings, especially in the filing of motions and stuff like that, this is where it bites him. And I honestly believe, in my opinion, and my opinion only, that John Wood is in his ear getting him to do this stuff, and then sitting back and taking no blame for it and saying, allegedly, you get what I'm saying with this, you guys? So I'm anxious to see how many other people jump on board with this once I've got this information out there, that people are going to start thinking the same thing. People that are covering this case, other YouTubers, because I believe, in my opinion, this is what John Pryor is doing, trying to put blemishes on in the public, put blemishes on John Wood, or Rob Wood, sorry, and he's doing it by going into Mark Means's ear and then sitting back and then saying, oh, I'm going to file a motion on that. Allegedly, Rob Woods did this. Allegedly this. I'm going off of what Mark Means has filed. Okay? So I'm anxious really to see who else thinks the same as me once I've got this information out. Okay? So next that happens is, I believe, I don't have that information because it's sealed. I believe that the state of Idaho asked for copies of the electronically filed stuff, okay? And they asked it, oh, I got the John Pryor one up, but they asked it from both, okay? The only one that has replied is John Pryor, okay? And as you see again here, they've got the same address. This here, they got the same address. We go back here, Mark Means, 429 Southwest 5th Avenue, Suite 110. And when you go to John Wood, he's got the exact same address. Okay, so that's why I think that John Pryor is in Mark Means's ear. He doesn't want to take the fall for doing this stupidity, so he's getting Mark Means to do it as his little gopher. Okay, so I don't know if Mark Means knows that he has to file this, but John's the only one that has filed this, a notice of compliance. Okay, so John Pryor filed this on the 21st, and he is basically saying that anything he was given by Mark Means, he has turned over to the state. Okay, so notice of compliance that the above named defendant, Chad Guy Daybell, has complied with the plaintiff's supplemental request for discovery by serving upon the plaintiff, which is the state of Idaho, counsel, defendant's responses to the supplemental request for discovery by Odyssey eServe to mcpo.madison.idaho.id.us on the 21st day of December 2020. Okay, and there's his certificate of service. So he's filed and sent over his stuff, but there's nothing on record yet of Mark Means doing that. So up until now, what do you guys think? Because next what I'm going to bring up is the transcript of that conversation, okay, that they filed. This is a transcript of the recording that that other lawyer, the lawyer for Lori's sister and Zulema, I think it was, he recorded that kind of meeting thing, type thing. I have the transcript of that, and we're going to go over it, and I'm just going to briefly go over some of it because the transcript, I will go through it, and then you guys can rewatch it and read the whole thing if you want, but it's just too long. I'm just going to, you know, go over certain aspects of it that are troubling, I guess, to Mark Means. Also in this transcript, Rob Wood may be sanctioned for this, but he calls Mark Means incompetent. So, I mean, it's almost like a tit for tat, okay? Yeah, this truly is a circus. Yes, John Pryor isn't dumb. That's why I said I think John Pryor is in Mark Means's ears. File this, file that, file this, file that. And I think that they're trying to pee off Rob Wood against Lori Vallow. So they go strong on Lori Vallow, and you're going to see some of this, you guys. Okay, so we know that the motion that was scheduled for January 6th for the change of venue and to dismiss the charges, that has now been vacated, and it's going to be put off to a later date. That January 6th motions hearing is now going to be the hearing on disqualifying Rob Wood. Okay, so they gave Chad and Lori's lawyers both the extended time that they wanted for the motions to dismiss and the motions to change a venue. That's going to be later on after this hearing on January 6th if they're going to disqualify Rob Wood. Okay, also before this January 6th, they've got to file motions before December 30th to fight having this hearing closed to the public. Okay, so that will be happening. I will keep you guys up to date. I will be watching it closely. They have to file that motion for a hearing before December 30th if they want to fight having this closed to the public. And the only ones that are fighting it is Mark Means. John Pryor and the state of Idaho have said, no, they're good with having it a closed hearing. Mark Means wants it open to the public. So let's see what happens there. Okay, so next on my docket, here we go. Okay, so this here is the transcript, and I will scroll through it so you guys, oh, here he is. Declaration of Attorney Garrett Smith, re motion to disqualify prosecuting attorney. Okay, this Garrett Smith is the lawyer that was present with Lori's sister, Summer Shiflett. Okay, and I believe it was Zulama or whatever. We'll get into it. I'm just going to move my mic closer, you guys. So, okay, so this is it's so jumbled and everything else. A lot of this doesn't make sense because it's the narrative that whoever's typing this out is a little off. But he says, I, Garrett Smith, attorney licensed and in good standing with the state of Arizona, hereby declare as follows. I make this declaration upon my own personal knowledge and belief. I am the attorney of record for Summer Shiflett, sister of defendant Miss Lori Noreen Vallow. I am an individual over the age of 18, a resident of the state of Arizona, active licensed attorney at law for the state of Arizona. That I have intimate and personal knowledge of the facts set forthwith herein, believing them to be true and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. The attached is a true and correct transcript of the recording of Mrs. Summer Shiflett, conducted by prosecutor Rob Wood, that occurred on or about October 1st. Okay. That I was personally present for and discussion between Mr. Wood and Ms. Shiflett on that day. Okay. That I recorded the discussion that took place on the said day in its entirety without any edit, alteration, or modification. That I provided this unaltered, unedited recording to Mr. Means. See? To Mr. Means. That I previously advised Mr. Wood that I would record the conversation between Mr. Wood, law enforcement, and my client, regardless of whether Mr. Wood acknowledges that advisement. I am well within my rights of Arizona law as a one-party recording state to record this conversation. In addition, the recording device was in plain sight during the entire discussion. that immediately upon realizing the gravity of Mr. Woods's comments during the discussion with my client, I contacted Mr. Means to report the unprofessional statements made by Mr. Wood about Mr. Means. Mr. Means asked for a copy of the recording. After receiving advice from the Arizona State Bar attorney and with consent of my clients, I provided a copy of the recordings to Mr. Means. That the attached transcript appears to be not an entire transcript of the recording. Wait a minute. Up here, he said that the attached is a true and correct transcript of the recording. Wait a minute here. He said up here that this was a true and correct transcript. But now he's saying that the attached transcript appears to be not an entire transcript of the recording provided Mr. Means, but the first 18 approximate minutes of the recording. Oh, okay. So Mark Means only had somebody transcribe the first 18 minutes because I guess he figured that's all he needs, but he does have the full recording. Okay, so in summary, these recordings were made and disseminated with the knowledge and consent of my clients. The recordings were made in full compliance with Arizona law and ethics. And the thing, you guys, that I'm having a problem with here is this: if this was on October 1st, why is it only coming out 2 months later? If that immediately upon realizing the gravity of Mr. Wood's comments during the discussion with my client, I contacted Mr. Means. Well, wait, you were in that session and you recorded it. So, which means when you realize the gravity of Mr. Woods's comments, so you're telling us that you contacted Mr. Means 2 months ago. Okay. Okay, and then his certificate of service, that he sent this to Madison County Prosecuting Attorney's Office and John Pryor. Okay, this is Mark Means's certificate of service on this. It's just like, this should have been a certificate of service for Garrett Smith, but it's not. It's a certificate of service by Mark Means. Anyway, let's get into this. Okay, so this is the Summer Shiflett interview. Like I said, I will scroll through this, you guys, and I'm just going to highlight some of this. Like, you can pause, rewatch this and pause it if you want to read it all, but I'm going through all of it and just taking out the parts that I find are, you know, of an issue. Okay, so he's just saying here that, you know, he's just getting to know, what's her name? Summer. Okay, so he's just blah, blah, blah with Summer, talking about the kids. Robert Wood says, on of the ones kinds of running down the kids' case because they were last seen in Rexboro, and or like the whole thing is like this, you guys, and and just like cut up sentences that some of them don't even make sense. We're last living in Rexburg, that Tylee was last seen in Yellowstone, but Summer goes right, and so we're the ones that knew everything about the case, so they're assigned to us on that. I'm just going to tell you right now, we are going to be filing conspiracy to commit murder charges for both Chad and Lori. So this is what Robert Wood said to Summer. So this is one of the areas here. Whoops. Right here. My thingy isn't working, you guys, but you get what I'm saying right here. This is one of the issues that they're having, why they want him disqualified. And I'm going to highlight the areas that they're saying they're going to use to disqualify Rob Woods. This is one of them, sharing with Summer and Summer's lawyer. This is Robert Woods saying, I'm just going to tell you right now, we are going to be filing conspiracy to commit murder charges for both Chad and Lori. So they're basically saying that this is like an intimidation factor, that they knew Summer would go back to Lori with this. Okay, so that's one. Garrett goes, the lawyer goes, oh, okay. And then he says, and we're not shy about that. We've told both attorneys. This attorney keeps pretending like I never said that. But we have to. But I kind of want to give you a little bit of background of where we are, and kind of like our kind of theory of how this ended up where it is, or where it was. We know that this is not the same Lori everyone else knew. What's so strange to me is everyone we talked to who knew Lori before this, she was primary president. She made quilts for these kids. She was made everything fun. Everyone loved her. Like, it's just so broken up. Summer goes, yes, a great mom. Robert Wood goes, yes, great mother, blah, 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 blah. And here's another one. So one thing I'm going to ask you to consider is maybe something happened. I don't know what. I don't know if it was psychological. I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever know, but something happened. And I think Colby, the way he said it to me, I think this is kind of person who is in jail. He said, that's not my mom, it's someone else. Okay. Summer, yeah. So then prosecutor Wood, on the flip side of that is, I shouldn't say flip side, but want to be clear, I'm no going to pull any punches on any defendant in this case, right? I've got my job to do. And Summer says, absolutely, Robert Wood. But we also want the truth, the whole truth, in the context of it. Chad Daybell did you ever meet Chad? Like, it doesn't make no sense, you guys. Summer says, so I met him once at Preparing People. I went to one Preparing People thing. Rob Wood goes, okay. Summer says, and with my mom and husband, I went to support Lori. She wanted to support Mel. So went and met Chad. And after he talked for like 90 seconds, maybe, if that, then he called me when Lori got transferred to the Idaho jail. She says that he called her when Lori got transferred to the Idaho jail. He texted me. So she said he called, then he texted me, and Lori wanted to talk to me. I was like, yeah. And then the second I hung up with her, he called me to ask about bail. Robert Wood says, So Summer says, for Lori, I've talked to him maybe 3 times briefly on the phone. Okay, so she met him once. She talked briefly 3 times on the phone. Never a long extended conversation. But the first thing he said to me when he called me was that he said, Lori hasn't told me very much about the kids, so there's not really much I can tell you. So she's trying to minimize her talks in all this, because I don't think she wants to be drawn into all this. So Wood says, okay, of course he'd say that. Summer says, So Wood says, well, welcome to Chad Daybell. And then he starts saying, so what I want. And Summer cuts him off, I guess, saying, I have my own opinions on him. Don't get me wrong. Prosecutor Wood says, I bet you do. He's highly manipulative. So he's leading kind of here. And Summer says, yes, he is. Rob Wood says, I'm not going to say he's highly intelligent. So, I mean, this stuff like this, it gets worse. But things like this, calling, people, anyway. But you don't have to be highly intelligent to be highly manipulative, so kind of leading. And she says, absolutely. So don't forget that she's going to be a witness. So he is kind of trying to put things into her head here, I guess. Prosecutor Wood said he's extremely manipulative. So, I mean, he continues on from highly to extremely. So it's almost like he is trying to lead her and put things into her head. I'm not watching the chat, you guys, so I just got to get through this for you guys. And then he goes on to say, you know, your sister manipulated him in some ways too, but the context for everything that happened came from Chad. Okay, so this right here, I can see Chad's lawyer not being happy about, or Mark Means, okay, because he's kind of leading, okay, and trying to put tidbits in Summer's head. So then she says, absolutely. And then Wood says, oh, unfortunately, we do. We have enough evidence to prosecute him. We do, but I have a case against your sister that is stronger. Okay, so you see how he's saying things that he probably shouldn't be saying, because it's more like an intimidation factor, because he knows that Summer's going to go back to her sister with this. Okay, but I just kind of just want to give you just like the background. That's the kind of context that we see. This guy came in here and, you know, not making excuses for anyone, but kind of blew up this situation, and he did not care who died. Okay, and she goes, Prosecutor Wood said, who died, who got hurt. He did not care at all. So he's kind of like saying this stuff to Summer to try and turn Lori against Chad. It's just bizarre. And the other thing I can tell you is your sister truly believes that everything she's done has been done righteousness. Like, weird. And Summer says, I know. Robert Wood says, I know I'm kind of using LDS speak. Garrett, here's the lawyer, says, yeah. Summer says, 100%, that's my interpretation also. I think she 100% believes. Prosecutor Wood comes out with, she believes it. It's like, oh my God, like, okay, so Robert Wood, every once in a while, you'll see kind of a little crack in like a Jill phone call. Okay, Susan says, well, you've heard our conversations too. You know that I get that she's not fully aware of what she's really done. Rob Wood says, yeah, right. She says, I don't think she is. Rob Wood goes, yeah, I mean, I'm going to say this. I think she knows what she's done. You see what he's doing here? And then Summer says, yeah, she knew enough to lie to us about it. And Robert Wood says, yeah, right, yeah. But the context under which it was done was this, religious. Just these ideas were out there. I can say this, I'm LDS. Had no basis in the LDS faith. You know, and you said it in her phone calls to her. So anyway, what's kind of where we're at? I think it should have said there, where we're at, not where. And we, you know, again, we're just really grateful for you coming in, and it's going to be hard to talk about these things. Summer says, oh yeah. Robert Wood, we know that, and they're going to be, you know, you're not being a person of interest. Like, it's just so odd, this conversation. And Garrett says, yeah, we've had that conversation. I think this is supposed to say also. Wood says, but part of what we need to do is understand, well, when you have a case like this, it's not just like it's a meth case. I don't know where that comes into play. I probably had meth and nobody cares who you are. It's just like bizarre. Summer said, no, there's no drugs, no alcohol. It's just, she went to say something and he cut her off. But this case is, we need to understand the context of who these people are. And so that's a lot of what they're going to be asking about. Like, he cut her off. She says, okay, I'll do my best. I mean, see, and he cut her off again. Like I said, it won't be easy. I know it's going to be a hard interview. So it's almost like he's asking her to get information here. And that's what she's understanding it to be. And that's why he keeps cutting her off, so she doesn't say too much type thing. is what I'm getting from this. It's just bizarre. And then Wood says, all I can tell well. And then Summer says, I mean, you do have a cause yet, or is it close to one? Oh, wait, sorry, you guys, I jumped ahead of myself. Summer says, I was wondering if you would be able to tell, if you were able to tell me if there's any progress in what you know about Tylee and her death. But is there any progress in her, I believe this is supposed to say autopsy, where you understand better? Wood says, all I can tell well. She says, well, do you have a cause yet, or is it close to one? I need to take a sip, you guys. Okay. Robert Wood says she's at the FBI state-of-the-art crime lab. Unfortunately, there's a lot of diseased bodies there that they're going through. So Summer says, oh, I'm sure. And so we don't really know anymore yet. We may never know due to the destruction of that body. And yeah, we hope to find out. We may not, but obviously we know it's her. There was soft tissue that was still preserved enough to do DNA tests. Like, I don't know if that's stuff that he should be sharing with a witness to the case. I don't know. Summer says, yeah, the way you guys found them, like we wouldn't have ever known. Garrett, the lawyer, says, yeah. Summer says, I would have never dreamed that she could ever hurt them so. And then Robert Wood cuts her off. You know what? And everyone says that. Summer says, yeah. That's what everyone says. So, I mean, they're just going through stuff here. Like I said, you guys can, you know, stop this, pause it once the live is done and read through. But they're just chit-chatting again about the deaths now and what happened. We hope she does. She actually was talking about coming in, like, okay, so this is about, he was talking with Lori about coming in and talking about all this. She was actually talking about with Chad, about talking with us before we found the bodies, just to say a few days before, and Chad talked her out of coming in. Okay. And Summer says, which is too bad for her. You know, Garrett says, yeah, sure, it would have been, you know. Prosecutor Wood says they were just finishing up the warrant on that date to go and search. We were just getting ready to go out that day. It would have been even better if he talked her, but he talked her out of it. So talking about Chad telling Lori not to meet with prosecutors regarding, you know, the bodies where they figured they were going to be. Okay. Talking about the LDS, like I said, you guys can pause this later and talk about it. And then Prosecutor Wood is going on, well, I'm the visionary guy, so you know. So anyway, again, I just wanted to meet with you really quick and introduce myself and Mackenzie. Summer says, I don't take any joy in doing any of this. I don't take any joy in doing anything that's going to harm Lori. I don't take any joy in her spending her life in prison. You know, they go on to talk about this. Okay, so here Prosecutor Wood starts talking about, and you know what, even if you win a case, like Garrett's been in court, and there's cases, you know, as a prosecutor, like you take to trial and you win, and you're like, even at the end, well, nothing good has come out, it's all bad. Garrett goes, yeah. Summer says, yeah, it's all bad. Wood says, I said this to someone the other day, who knows your sister is our goal is sometimes you get murder and all you have is murder and you just have to run out and charge it, and then you kind of put it all together. We're able to put them in jail with a high bail on these lower charges and put together a case. Now our goal is to have such a strong case that when she has, oh, here we go. Okay, so this is what really pissed off Mark Means. Now, our goal is to have such a strong case that when she has competent counsel. I don't know if you know this, her attorney has never handled a felony before. So is calling her counsel incompetent. Okay. So that really peeved off Mark Means. Summer goes on to say, Wood goes on to say he's never done any meaningful criminal work at all. And he doesn't know what he's doing. He's a nice guy. Okay. Summer says, yeah, I met him. And then further, he continues, to say, other than when he's lying about me, and he doesn't know what he's doing. And once we file further charges, she will be appointed counsel who will know what they're doing. And our goal is to put together such a case that they're smart enough to say it's going to be better to talk. Okay, so that's when he's degrading Mark Means. Like, you just don't do that. Oh, gosh. Not that it's not true, but for him to say this, especially with another lawyer present, that's what Mark Means is freaking out about. Okay, and Woods is saying that he's lying about him. Goes on to say that Colby's the one that's lost everything. And it's like he's trying to shut down the conversation now, that he's thanking her over and over for coming in. Like I said, if you guys want to read all this, you can. Summer goes on to say, and so she has to pay a price for this forever. And I hate that for her. So I'm very conflicted. But I was going to ask you on the concealment, or not on the concealment, but on the conspiracy to commit murder. What's the weight of that in terms of judgment? Is that death penalty kind of thing? Wood goes, it is a death penalty case in Idaho. Summer says, are you planning to ask for that? We sure hope we don't. So he's kind of instilling here that he wants her to talk and they'd take that off the table type thing. You can read through that here. And basically Garrett, chimes in with yas and prolongs it. They're saying that if somebody doesn't come forward, if they don't, I don't know, that this could be just an ongoing case. He goes here and says, I know you know a lot more about Lori than I do, but we have learned a lot about Lori, and there's some things happen in her life, I think, comes to play in this. So he's trying to butter her up type thing. He's not saying he's not going to go for the death penalty, but he's kind of instilling, once you guys, you can read through this, he's kind of instilling in her that if Lori talks, maybe they'll take that off the table type thing. That's what I'm getting from it. Saying that, Lori hasn't been totally forthright. Okay, I tell you, I was there in Hawaii when that order to produce the children was served, and I was there when they served the search warrants for the news showed up. I was super annoyed by that. It just blows everything up. At the moment we saw them, because your sister can put on a brave face, then he goes on to say, and because she was just very stoic, I'm not going to say a word, that Chad basically was about to pee his pants because he's actually a wimpy person. Summer says, yeah. And Robert Wood says again, wimpy. Yeah. Summer says, yeah. He's great if he has someone else to do something for him, but he himself is a wimpy person. And at the time they were like, this is all her. Speaking about Lori, like, how is she manipulating this guy? But then once we dug into that was the beginning, and we were starting to get the facts. We got more facts, again, I'm not going to pull punches. If I have to go to trial, but these ideas came from him. So kind of like trying to butter her up, you know, so you guys can read through this. This is more just Woods trying to butter her up, you know, and talking about other people. Julie Rose podcasts on this. And that this woman who does this podcast, this Julie Rowe, talks about herself as in a third person. And then Garrett says, Garrett doesn't like when people talk about themselves in the third person. So he just did the same thing there. But they're saying that this Julie Rowe is interesting because she always talks about herself in the third person type thing. And then Garrett trying to be funny says Garrett doesn't like when people talk about themselves in the third person. Wood says, well, and we'll let you get going and we can start on this. And this is just more of, you know, him trying to get rid of them now and just small talk. Like I said, you guys can go through this and read it if you want. He doesn't really say much after that. It's just small talk. And then he says, all right, well, I'll call or text if you need. I don't know how long this. Would you mind if we sit down and talk to you? Any breaks you need, anything? Garrett says, I've run over it. You bet. I told her if she has questions, she can ask me or use the bathroom or we'll shut it down. Summer says, thank you. Garrett, do all that. So Summer says, nice to meet you. And that was the end of it. So, I mean, like I said, I went through it, you know, slow enough that if you guys want to go over it later, you can. So, yeah, and this is what I mean. I think that John Pryor is putting a lot into the ear of Mark Means to come forth with this stuff. Okay, guys, so next what we're going to do is let me just get rid of this. Oh boy, I better not do that, so I might cancel myself out. Okay, so we're going to bring up the stuff that I have found. I'm only going to show certain parts of it because a lot of it is repetitive, and it does not have to do with Alexis. This is his former wife, and I do have her name. It's Karen Lee. Okay, wait a minute. I believe this is Cindy Sharkey. Okay, so Thomas Sharkey's previous wife, Cindy. And they were married because on the court documents, it's been blocked out here. But on the court documents, it is Cindy Sharkey. Okay, so I'm going to go through some of this. I have taken some screenshots that I'm going to show you guys because I feel like it's not fair to this lady here to have all her dirty laundry out here that doesn't pertain to Thomas Sharkey, Alexis. But this is going to show you what he's about, okay? So this is just to show what case it is, and that this involves, as you can see here, the Thomas Sharkey, okay? This goes through to, let me see what the date on this was. This was in 2009, okay? So that there was a prior divorce settlement made with access, whatnot, made between Cindy and Thomas when they got divorced, okay? And this is a year later. Cindy brings it back to court because she wants the order modified, okay? And I guess both ended up filing stuff to modify. And like I said, you guys, I'm not going to include that because I don't think that it's right to include all of her personal stuff in a case that doesn't involve her. So this is just to give you a history of what this guy is like, okay? So she put forth an order for that order to be modified. So each of the parties are seeking to modify the judgment. Final judgment of dissolution of marriage entered on January 15, 2008. The father is seeking to have the court fashion a parenting plan based on his residence in Texas rather than Florida. The mother is requesting the grant her sole parental responsibility for the minor children and to restrict the father's contact with the children to supervise contact. So there was a big fight going on between them. The father wanted to be able to take them, I guess, to Texas. The mother was saying no way, that she wants sole parental responsibility now because they did have a shared responsibility type thing. And she wants this changed. Okay, so this is for the children. This is their, I guess, information. Okay, so the mother filed this, and this is her filing, okay? Florida is the home state and the state of habitual residence of the children. Accordingly, Florida is the sole jurisdictional state to determine child custody, parental responsibility, time sharing, rights of custody, and rights of access concerning the children under the Parental Kidnapping Prevention Act, under the International Child Abduction Remedies Act, and under the Convention of the Civil Aspects of International Child Abduction enacted at The Hague on October 25th, 1980. So this is her, I guess, case law that she is using to keep any residence for her children or visitation in the state of Florida. Because he moved to Texas, she is covering all her bases with this act and the different acts to prevent him from being able to keep the kids, kidnapping, you know, abducting them, whatever, okay? So the change in circumstances, the court, now this is the order, okay? But the court finds that there have been substantial material and unanticipated changes in circumstances since the entry of judgment entitled the Final Judgment of Dissolution of Marriage, previously entered in January 2008, which warrants a modification that the court further finds is in the interest of the children, okay? Now, some of that I'm going to include is even, this is the order, the new order. On that, the court finds the father's family members testified to his changed mental and emotional conditions, to his threat of suicide, and to his detrimental actions towards and with the, I was going to say children. He relocated to Texas from Florida. The original parenting plan is unworkable. The father has used the children to attempt to force the mother to make agreements with him that she believed were not in the children's best interest. The father, in addition, has threatened the mother and involved her employer by delivering sensitive pictures to the employer in order to punish her for failing to give in to his threats. In total, except for the stability of the mother's home, the circumstances which existed at the time of the marital settlement, agreement, and final judgment, which relate to these children, have all substantially changed. It is notable that even though much of the evidence in this matter came from relatives of the father, those relatives obviously care deeply for him and are genuinely concerned about him and have great care for the children involved in this matter. Okay, so like I said, I'm not going to include everything because I don't feel others have included a lot of this and shown it to the world. I don't believe that's fair to this previous wife of his to include all of their stuff. where it can be shown that this is what he did, you know, like threatening her and abusing her, and how his character is, you know, and his mental stability was. I think that's all pertinent to this case, to Alexis's case. But other things in this court case with Cindy is not. So I'm not going to share that, okay? I want to give her some kind of privacy, okay? So this is the order, okay? And the court found that shared parental responsibility would be detrimental to the minor children, and the mother should have sole parent guardianship, okay? Okay, so the capacity and disposition of each parent to protect the child from the ongoing litigation has demonstrated by not discussing the litigation with the child, not sharing documents or electric media related to the litigation with the child, and from refraining from disparaging comments about the other parent to the child. This factor weighs heavily against the father. He is outrageously involved and engaged the children in the current litigation. He has had them act out against the mother in order to try to force her to make agreements with him, which she did not believe were in the children's best interest. In addition, the father followed through with a threat to tell the children of the mistreatment of the mother as a child by a family member. This action was detrimental to the emotional welfare of the children and totally a use of them by the father to punish the mother for failing to make agreements with him. Okay, like this guy is woohoo. Okay, so that's what I'm going to include there, you guys. The court found that, you know, he was not safe for the kids to be around. Okay, so I'm going to go back to, I'm going to get out of this, go back to this. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Okay, so and now I can see you guys. Okay, so it's like, I've got a mess here in front of me, guys, so I'm just going to leave my mic on. I'm going to let you guys know, I don't know if I'm going to share the information that I also got regarding this dumbbell, this, I don't know, I got to find another name for him, okay? Around this Thomas Sharkey. There's another female that has came forward also with with accusations of threats and abuse, and similar to what I just showed you regarding his ex-wife, and her name is Karen Lee Crowder. Now, as of right now, I'm not going to share those documents that I have, those court documents, because I want to go through them better and kind of black out things that are personal in nature that don't have to do directly with either his character. I mean, there's some stuff in there that's pretty disgusting. Some things that she explains were done to her in the past that he, excuse me, you guys, I'm coughing like heck because I got my electric heater on and it's drying out my throat. Just personal things that I don't think I've got to include. So I want to black them out so they're not shown. Again, I've got to be, I'm going to be, I don't know if others are going to show it, but I'm going to be respectable and respectful towards this lady too, as of not to share what happened to her in the past and those things that she shared in this affidavit that she did, because I don't think that it's fair. Okay, but what she states in there, what he's done to her, the abuse and this and that, and shoving her around, that stuff I am going to put out there, but not until I can go through it and redact some stuff that I don't think you guys or anybody really should put out there publicly. You know, like, it's just not right, you guys. Like, I went through a lot of things as a child too, and it's not things that are that go against my character, but it's just things that were done to me while I was a child. I don't want the world knowing about that, you know, or have it on somebody's YouTube channel. Like, I'm not doing that. If others want to do it, that's on them, but I'm not going to do that. So I will redact it, and when the timing is right, yes. Rosie says, I agree also. It's a tough situation, yes. And Mama says, like, when the time is right, I will share that, okay? I think showing what I did show of the court documents with his ex-wife, Cindy, I think just goes to show his character and shows what kind of guy he is. So, is there anything you guys want to ask about what has been covered? Yeah, I agree. Rosie says, I really feel for the kids. They shouldn't be put in the middle of all this. I agree. Like, the only reason I even mentioned the kids in this here, as you can see, the names and everything are blacked out, is because I don't feel it's right to show their names, number one. But the only reason that the kids were mentioned in there is because of what he did using the kids as a weapon against the mother. And it showed in there that when she refused to allow him to have them by himself and stuff like this, I don't want to get too deep into it, but when she didn't follow what he wanted, this is what he did to her. Okay, so it kind of shows his character. You know what I mean? Actually, there we go. Thank you, socially awkward. Those things actually show what kind of guy he isn't, but it also shows what kind of guy he is. So there's other news on this that I have copies of things that were sent to, like, conversations between him and one of his friends. Like, I want to also go through that. I haven't been able to go through it fully, so I don't know if I'm comfortable yet putting that up, where he talks to one of his friends and says, you know, things weren't really going good between us, and some of the fights that they had about some of the things that she was doing and some of the ways that she was dressing. There's several conversations with several different friends. But he was very manipulative with her, and you can see in some of these conversations too where he's trying to manipulate his friends into agreeing that this is the way Alexis was. Okay, so yeah, and I'm not going to repeat that, Rosie, because I don't think it's fair. You know what I mean? There's also another friend that he says, and I'm not going to put this up because I don't know if I believe it, okay? But there was another friend that he had talked to that he said that Alexis was on drugs, that they found drugs in the home, and that they were all Alexis's. And actually, Des and I talked briefly about this before I came on the live, is this could be him trying to set her up as if there was something going on that, you know, anyway. But he also mentioned to that same friend, as well as the other friend, that things weren't going well. They were fighting, and Alexis wanted away from him and stuff like that, that he felt he was going to lose her, like she was going to divorce him. So there was some stuff that was going on right around the time that she went missing that I believe was directly related to Alexis's disappearance. Well, we're going to leave it at that. I don't want to mention the drugs, but it wasn't just marijuana. We'll leave it at that. Okay, Mama? Like I said, if you want to listen to some of the other channels, they put it all out there. Personally, I'm not going to do that because with the drug thing, I've 2 or 3 different conversations that he's had with friends. I've seen him try to throw that in there. And it's like, that's something, if you loved your wife and everything the way you said, that's not something that you would want out there in the public, like demeaning to her, disparaging her, degrading her in that way. So I'm kind of iffy on that. And the thing that he keeps repeating that, like, who are you trying to convince? Right? Yes, I agree, Rosie. I agree. So, I mean, that's why I'm very careful about what I put up. And even though, like I said, you guys can go through that whole recording slowly once this is uploaded to YouTube. But I don't know, guys. I just see a lot of this Thomas Sharkey throwing things out there, and not just once, twice. Like when I think it's depending on the reaction he gets from something is going to determine whether he continues to share it and how far he's going to go trying to push that agenda down people's throats. So if those people are ever questioned, they can come out with that. So what he says is more believable. It's like I see the theory behind what he's doing and the narrative he's trying to cause, just like Barry Morphew with, oh, she was on a bike ride and her bike was thrown down there. It's the same thing I'm seeing kind of sort of with this Thomas Sharkey. He's trying to control the narrative. And then when that doesn't go his way, like he did in his relationships, I think he throws things out there to people to put it in their mind. So if they're ever questioned, that's going to be fresh in their mind and they're going to say, oh, well, did you know she did drugs and this and that? And that hasn't been proven. That's what he's instilling in other people's minds. You get where I'm going with that, you guys? I don't think he wants to be a hero, Mama. I think that he's putting other narratives out there and putting things in people's minds so that down the road, if these people are questioned, that is fresh in their minds. So when investigators, ever get him back in again and question deeply, and he goes, oh, okay, well, I might as well, say this, she was really on drugs bad, and I was trying to get her off, and then like what he has been saying. If they go to other people and ask about that, he wants to have already told those people that, so they repeat it to law enforcement, so he's more believable. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Also, the autopsy I have regarding Alexis, I'm not going to do anything with that yet. Well, Casey says hearsay so that he can confuse the truth of what others know as fact. Like I said, Casey, what I think he's doing is he's talking to anybody that will listen, and he's trying to get them to believe that Alexis was a drug addict and that he was trying to get her off of drugs. And I think he's doing that. So if those people are ever questioned down the line by law enforcement, they're going to come back and say, oh, yeah, well, did you know that Alexis was on drugs? You know what I mean? So that's where I was going with that. But anything is possible, you guys. Yeah. And see, here's what Des is saying. that she wouldn't be surprised if Tom Sharkey planted the drugs to make it look like she was a druggie, trying to make himself look like the angelic husband and her as the druggie cheater. Exactly. That is what he is trying to do. That's what I believe, in my opinion, he is trying to do. And then he talks to all these other people and tries to get them to believe what he is saying. So if they're ever questioned down the line, they can say, oh yeah, I remember from months ago, Thomas had told us he was trying to get her off of drugs and that she was on drugs and, drugs were found. And that's what I think is happening. So that's what I was trying to get my point across, is he's trying to put this into people's minds. So down the road, if they're ever questioned about it, they're going to, say, oh yeah, she was. He told me that long ago, or a long time ago. He told us that. So on another note, what do you guys think? That I do better this time on the StreamYard? And look at that. I've got my emblem up there for just Mike. I got my camera being able to work. I've got, look at that. I've got the banner streaming down below. What do you think? I was so proud of myself. I did have a little bit of a hiccup. That's okay. I will get better. And I'm hoping that one of these times when Des has some quiet time, because Des follows a lot of this too, I want to get Des in on this StreamYard. So you'll have both of us here on camera. What about that, you guys? That's maybe going to be something that we're going to do. Like I said, I'm going to add another tier to the memberships. So that's going to be, I think, maybe one of the things that we do come the new year. If I can get Des to be able to sit long enough to be able to do that. Yeah, so yeah, the people were all saying, oh, your read's wrong, he was a great husband, blah blah blah. I don't think so. We're gonna see as this progresses, you guys. We're gonna see. Spirit doesn't lie. So we'll see what happens with that, right? Yeah, he's putting kind of his truths and this and that, and he's adding things and making things up. And it's like, if this was so, he would have said that right bang boom at the beginning. So, oh, thank you, Mama Shanann. But yeah, we'll have to get a time where me and Des, I've got time galore now that I'm retired, but I'm going to have to find a time where Des is going to have some quiet time to, that she can sit and come on live with us. And that will be through the members only, and probably will be uploaded. Well, it will be uploaded later on onto my channel, but everybody who is a member will get that first. So there's a bunch of new stuff that's coming in the new year, you guys, that I'm getting excited about. Okay, so you guys, I'm going to close this up for now. I want to thank you guys all for being here. I want to wish you, each and every one of you, a very Merry Christmas and a safe and happy New Year. Please stay safe. Us here where I live in Canada, we are going on a full lockdown. So I'm going to have a lot of time on my hands, you guys, to, add another tier and get things up to the way I want. Maybe do some more streaming to get this down packed. Yes, Dee, if you want to, you can post the links there for everybody. Like I said, you guys can go back and watch this stream once it's uploaded to YouTube. and you can go line by line through that that recording that Mark Means and John Pryor are using against Rob Woods, that video, that audio recording. You guys can go through it line by line. I showed you guys basically the most important parts, but it is all there. You guys can go and see that when this is over, and you can, you know, start at the beginning if you like. Hello, Maureen. We're just finishing up, my dear. But this will be uploaded to YouTube, so you will be able to watch it all there. Yeah, I will. Hold on for a minute there, Des. I'm going to upload this to YouTube later. To Facebook later, you guys. So Des is going to put the link for the Facebook page, so you guys can hit it there, or you can hit it, or I'll put this up later, Des. Don't worry about the links to the Facebook. I'll do that later. I want to get this up onto YouTube first. Okay, so there's the link. Okay, well, there's the link to the Facebook group. I will have this, once I've got the description and everything done, you guys, I will put this over onto the Facebook page too. But there's direct links there for the memberships. My merch store, if you want to go and check that out. And there's a direct shareable link right there too to my channel, if you guys want to. Sandy, the memberships, there's a direct link that Des just posted. I'll put it on the screen. There's a direct link in the chat here that you click on, and you've already got your membership, Sandy. You're already a member, and what I'm going to be doing is adding more tiers, so you'll be able to upgrade your membership. So you'll still get all the perks of the membership you have right now, and if you upgrade, you will get the other perks that come along with that upgraded membership. And that's going to be lives first, stuff like that. The store, you can go to the store. Let me put that up. That's a direct link to my store. It will also be in the description of this video. You can go to my merch store and you can purchase. I've got hoodies. I've got the zip up and the pullover kind. I've got t-shirts, short and long sleeve shirts, all kinds of stuff over there. I've got masks, mugs. You just go to the website there. That's a direct link to my merchandise on the Bonfire site, and you can purchase what you see on the screen now, the Above and Beyond Ancestor readings. Those wings are on the back of everything, on the shirts, the sweatshirts, the hoodies, everything. You get those angel wings on the back. You go on over there. Even if you don't buy anything, go on over there and check out my merch store. There's the link for it, and it will also be in the description of this video. It's in the description of all my videos that are on my channel. If you scroll down in the description, it's there. Okay, so with that, you guys, I'm going to say Merry Christmas. Have a safe and happy New Year. Please stay safe, and we will see you again. I don't think I'm going to be having a live chit-chat thing on Sunday. You guys, I think we need a break for the families to enjoy this time together over the holidays. So that will all start again in the new year. So until then, you guys, I love you all. Thank you for all your support. It's so much appreciated. Give a thanks to Des for being my right hand here and for all her help, for everything she does for the channel, both here and on Facebook, okay? And a lot of behind the scenes things that she helps me out with, you guys, that you don't even get to see. I want to thank her from the bottom of my heart for that. And I want to thank you all for being here and supporting me throughout 2020. I love you all. I wish you the merriest Christmas and the happiest of New Year's. And let's keep our fingers crossed that this COVID crap is over and done with as soon as it can be. See you all in the new year. Merry Christmas, everybody. Love you. Bye-bye for now.